So, my name's Jens Peterson. Thanks for coming to this talk. I'd like to present a few things that we've been doing for internationalization. It's mostly things that are in Fedora. And then at the end I'll open up sort of discussion for future plans and some of the ideas that we have. So yeah, I think probably many of you know, but just in case, so I'm using this abbreviation I2N just for internationalization. So it's a long word. So this is about software internationalization. I mean, more sort of software, not translation. But so today I've got a few topics. I don't have much time. This is just a short talk. So, but just briefly. Talk a bit about Unicode updates, glibc locale subpackaging, lang packs with DNF, and an emoticon input, and typing booster, which is a suggestive input method, and maybe there's time it's not a client and so on. So first up. This is some work we've been doing, actually, so there's a few. This is actually work mostly done by Mike Fabian, who's here from my team. So we started this a little while back. I think glibc had been lagging behind in Unicode, so no one was really paying much attention to it. Especially Mike did a lot of work cleaning up some of the Python scripts, making it a lot more automated process now. So that I think now we've done 3 times maybe for Unicode 7, 8, and 9 in Fedora 25. The Unicode 9 patch is still not actually in upstream glibc. It's still awaiting review, unfortunately, but we're hoping to get it in soon. And also we started tracking a bit more other packages which also contain Unicode data, like ICU and so on, glib2 and so on. So that's about it for Unicode. And then slightly related, but this is also glibc, but subpackaging. So glibc, normally in Fedora and RHEL and so on, all the locales are sort of shipped in a very large archive file, which is like, well, maybe over 100 megabytes. And you can do various hacks to kind of cut that down for, I don't know, cloud or containers and so on. But in Fedora 24, we introduced this subpackaging, which means that you can, if you want, install just the specific locales for the languages that you need. So, for example, you could install just English locales or I don't know, Japanese or whatever you want. So you could have very small footprint for the locales. And this uses the locale directories. Yeah. So, but Fedora Workstation and I think also Fedora Server still include the large locale archive. So yeah, this is in this glibc all lang packs subpackage. But if you do a minimal install, like just a very small, then you'll just get something like glibc lang packs E, which is much smaller. And if you want the source, the locale sources to define your own locales, that are in this separate package too. So everything's been split up quite nicely. This is quite good. And also some related into that, and the last feature uses some of this technology too, is the lang pack support for DNF. So previously Yum had a plugin which allowed pulling in lang packs automatically. So say you're in some language like, I don't know, German or something, and then you install LibreOffice, then it would pull in the LibreOffice, the German lang pack for LibreOffice. But when Fedora moved to DNF, that no longer worked because well, there were some hooks missing in DNF which were not available. So, but this implementation is somewhat different. It doesn't use a plugin. It uses these weak RPM dependencies. So, for example, there's an example here that for some arbitrary example. So, if, for example, langpacks for langpacks DE says installed, then and you install, say, LibreOffice, then it will pull in the langpacks for the German langpack for LibreOffice. I'm not German, by the way, just taking German as an example. So this is quite good, I think. Then for input methods. So I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with input methods. Or, I don't know. How many of you have heard of IBUS or not many? Okay, 1 or 2. Okay, a few people. So in Fedora 25 we have a new feature in IBUS which is emoji input. This is done by Takao Fujiwara. So perhaps I could do a very quick demo. Let's see if I can go to my view. So okay. I should probably get rid of this. Okay. Let's see if we can do this. So, in order for this to work, you need to have at least one input method installed in your system. So, I'll just show that quickly. So here I have a few actually, but so normally if you're a European user, you may well only have one input source for your keyboard layout defined. But anyway. So, but installing an extra input method will switch to using IBUS, so yeah, rather than just the straightforward direct input. And then, if I press Control E, then this @ sign appears, and then I can type something like smile. And you can see, well, these are black and white emoticons, so they're not ideal, and we're doing some work to trying to get Cairo to render colored emoji, but that's not quite ready yet. Yeah, so that's that. Let's see if I can get back to my slides. And then again, Mike has been doing work on Typing Booster, which is a kind of a suggestive input method. Or like on your smartphones and so on, as you start typing, it'll predict what you're trying. Well, I suppose predictive input, yeah, method. And I think the original implementation, there are many input sources for Typing Booster, one for each language, and they're each associated with some Hunspell dictionary. So they're using that. And but in the recent Typing Booster now, it's possible to input different languages, even though you're using a particular input source. And also, nice feature, it can also do emoji input and also Unicode input. So, let's see. I don't know. I don't know should I do the demo now, or do you want to, Mike? don't know if you want to show now. Or you can. So I'll just switch. So I'll just switch it to.
It's the Danish version. If I type something which could match an emoji, then you see number 6. First you get some text-based matches, and if it's possible to match the input string against an emoji, then the last match in the first page of the candidates table will show an emoji, and that means you will probably see some more if you scroll down, and you can do something like do a right mouse click on the emoji, and then you get related stuff, other types of buildings. The castle was a building, and similar stuff. And with escape you can go back, and that was Danish, so that is multilingual. So what is castle in Danish?
Slot.
Slot.
S-L-O-T.
Slot. So
yeah. So it's also, you can also learn languages in this way. You can use it to translate.
So it works in multiple languages. And this one is now working in Danish and English, and that means if you switch between typing Danish and English, you don't have to switch between different input methods. You just type, and it remembers trigrams of words, so it remembers the last few words you typed, and if you type something like I am and start the next word with a letter, then because the 2 words before were English, the prediction you will get in the candidate list will be English, most likely, depending on what you typed before in such circumstances. And if it had been Danish, then you will get automatically Danish predictions, and you don't have to switch input methods doing that. Yeah, that's about it, I think.
One other nice feature of this is that it has, unlike other input methods, you can actually go back into pre-edit if you. Yeah. Right. Okay. Let's try one. I'll have to do that. Let me try something else. Like I could type integral or something. Right down here. Right. I like this one myself. Anyway. Yep. So there's more. All right. Great. So I'll go back. Okay, I may skip this one, or might mention very briefly. So Pengwu in Beijing has also been doing some enhancements to our lib pinging backend, improving the corpus, I think, of this OpenGram tool. And then for Sonata, I don't know how many people know about Sonata. A few people. Okay, some people. So Sonata is a kind of a web-based translation management platform, and there's a Java client which is a bit heavy, maybe, or well, I don't know. At least in Fedora, it's not actually packaged in Fedora, I think, but there's a Python client. But for a while, the Python client was not being maintained so much, and Cindy did quite a lot of work in the last year to try and update it, and well, I wouldn't say it's got feature parity, but at least it's now working pretty well, and most of the main features are just working there. So. And Akira Tayo has done a Sonata client in JavaScript, just called Sonata.js. I don't think it's actually in Fedora, but anyway, it's on the Node.js. And there's also a grunt kind of library which can integrate Sonata tasks into your JavaScript builds and so on. Okay, still some time, but so another project which we're kind of working on is this package translation statistics system. So this should be a web application which should allow to give some view of the status of translation, say, across different Fedora releases, or in the future maybe also other projects or products. So the idea is to actually look at what's in downstream packages and then can compare with what's in upstream or what's in Sonata or other platforms, and being able to get a picture across different languages and different product package groups and so on for how we're doing on translations, and hopefully it'll be useful also for testers and other sort of stakeholders like that. So I don't think it'll be ready in time for, maybe in time for Fedora 27. Hopefully it may have something to show. Otherwise, some of the things that we're thinking about. So I mentioned, I think briefly, that the typing boost at the moment has many input sources, and I think Mike's planning to kind of combine it into one single unified input source, and then have some UI in there to select what languages, preferences you have. And when we're planning to make some improvements further to the iBus emoji UI to make it easier to select emoji. And I think I mentioned also about this color emoji rendering. So I think it's sort of partially working in Fedora 25 maybe, but there are some more patches and things that are needed. And for it to work well, there's pretty more work to be done there. And we also have some plan to make a kind of I18N lint tool, which should be a tool that developers can use. To look at their projects, to get status, ITN status of their project, say some C or Python project, they'll be able to get, it might be able to alert you to strings that haven't been marked for translation and so on. And kind of related to that, we're working on some kind of documentation for ITN for developers so that it's easy to catch up on kind of best practices, and so that's some work there. Also, for lip-pinging, there's plans to have different multiple sentence candidates. So at the moment, it can only do kind of phrase candidates, but it's or single candidates. And then there's Unicode 10, I guess, in the summer they'll come out. So. Well, I could probably open up for questions. I have a few questions myself, so whether we could use ITN for some of these things like modularity, what it means, containers or atomic, even Flatpak, how to do IBUS and Flatpak applications and so on. But that's more or less what I have, so if anyone has any questions, I'd like to...
Regarding the I18 link, do you know about somebody that is developing some kind of a prototype for that?
What we do like
The link to
Right.
regarding the I18 link.
Yep.
Do you know about somebody having some kind of prototype, or do you know about some recent development?
Yeah, so the question is if there's any known work on this ITN lint tool. I think there's not a lot. I think there is some Python tool, which right now the name escapes me, but so that might be some kind of starting point. But right now we don't actually have any work on not much, I think. Yes.
I have a question about the typing booster you showed us. Which languages does it recognize? Is it related to the implementers you have actually installed? So let's say you've got English and Danish, so it would only recognize English and Danish. Okay, so it wouldn't recognize like Japanese, for example, if you didn't install all Japanese layout.
Okay, so just repeating the question. So the question is about typing booster, what languages it recognizes. So I think, well, probably Mike can...
It doesn't support Japanese very well, or a tiny bit, but it's really not recommended for Japanese, but it supports the most alphabetical language, including Latin Americans, the Indian languages. And actually you can combine more than two. The example showed only Danish and English. You could combine more than two, as many as you like actually. It's slower and slower because it has to more dictionaries, so I would recommend to use more than say 5 set it up as the user interface. That's the problem. The user interface only allows you to choose one first language, like French or whatever, and then add English as a second language. And if you want more than that, then you can configure it on the command line, setting the correct DevConf keys. So the support for more than two languages is already implemented. Only the setup UI doesn't allow you to do it. So I have to improve the user interface of the setup UI.
Yes, just summarising. I think basically every language which has a Hunspell dictionary, right, is sort of supported.
Yeah, even those which don't have Hunspell dictionary are supported, but they don't have any spell checking.
Right. Okay.
Something like German Hunspell dictionary is available. If you type a word that is slightly wrong, you might get a correction from Hunspell. For others, it would just remember the user for whatever it was.
So simply just that it moves towards what we actually experience on Android phones, for example.
I try to go in that direction. I like this Swift keyboard on Android, and I try to achieve a similar usability, a similar nice prediction. Swift is a third-party keyboard for Android, which has multiple suggestions, so you can also use this with up to 5 languages at the same time without switching. And you get nice predictions in all its languages, and I'm trying to do the same for the desktop, basically. Still lots of stuff to do, so I'm not desperate for working.
I'd also like to ask about the drop-down menu, because that just shows the suggestions you have. So this is GNOME shelf, GNOME 3. So how about other environments?
Most of the environment is the design was different. So in GNOME shell you have these white on black